Perfect. Hey everyone, my name is Benjamin Horry. I'm the co-founder and host of Model Talk, and today I'm joined by
Lau.
It's very nice to have you on. I think
Thank you.
you onboarded with us fairly recently, right?
No, actually,
Oh,
it's
really?
been a long while. I think I was one of the first, like going into.
Oh, from last year?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
been
nice.
a long while, but I had to leave Korea for quite a while, so I didn't really connect like with you guys. But I was one of the first to join, I think.
Sorry,
No,
I apologize. We have
it's okay.
a lot of
No,
models on the
of
platform
course.
now, and
It's
it's
fine.
I guess kind of getting lost.
Of
So where are you from originally?
From France.
Ah, very nice. And do you ever get to go back like quite often, or do you find yourself based here year round?
I want to be based here, but like I've had some like visa problems, like the usual. So I've been going back and forth for maybe a year, like staying for a few months here, and then I have to go back to make some paperwork, stuff like that. But now my goal is to be really based here for like long-term visa and
Really?
going back there as vacation.
What do you love about Korea so much that makes you want to like stay here long term?
I don't even know anymore, like
Okay.
I arrived in Korea 5 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yes. So like I graduated high school and I came here originally was just to hang out, like 6 months. I was like, okay, I'm going to discover a new country. And then it turned into 1 year and now it's
2
been 5
years,
years.
3 years. Now you're living here forever.
Yeah. So my friends are here. It's like my home is here. The only thing really bringing me back to France is my family, of course.
I think that's the case for pretty much every foreigner living overseas, right?
I wish I could bring them here and we could all live here together, but unfortunately that's not possible. So
Do you think your family would like Seoul, like living in Asian culture versus?
I don't think the Asian culture is the problem. I think it's mostly the big city. They're really like countryside people.
Okay.
My dad came here to visit and it was really like nice for 10 days.
A little bit?
Yeah, 10 days. And then he was like, I'm very glad to go back to my countryside. So impossible.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how you got started in fashion. Like, was it back home in France, or was it when you came to Korea, then you started to fall in love with the industry?
It was exactly like that. So I came here 5 years ago. I was so shy. I was a really shy person, not really confident, about my looks and stuff. And I wasn't popular in France at all. And I came here and I had a host family, like the first time I came. And one of their best friend was a designer. And so she saw me one day when they were hanging out and she was like, wow, you would look good in my collection. Do you want to model for me?
That's cool.
Yeah. I was terrified.
Yeah.
Like when I look back at those pictures, I look so stiff. I don't know how to pose. I mean, of course, it was the first ones. But I think that's really what got me into thinking about it, not really wanting to do it, but considering it, because before that, I would have, like, it never crossed my mind. But I did it once, and then they called me back for another collection, and I was getting more and more into it. Then there was a little dip. I didn't do anything for a few months or years, I would say. But it was just friends of friends usually who ask, and they're like, oh, do you want to model? Because I guess I'm tall, so like I'm tall around my friends. So maybe they would look at me more than the shorter friends. And it's because people told me to do it that I got into experiencing different type of like lookbook or video things. And it was especially like I met models and they were telling me about their professional life in Korea. And I was like, wow, okay, that sounds
pretty cool.
Sounds cool. Yeah, I wanna do that as well. If I can, then why not try it? And here I am.
So let's go to the first shooting, because I think this is the case for a lot of models. Like, yeah, there's definitely some people that as soon as they get on camera, they're just like they're just born to be there. Like they just move so fluidly. They're just very comfortable. But I think I was kind of in the same boat as you. Like the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 shoots I had, I was stiff as a board. And it really does take like actual hours in front of the camera to build that comfort level, right?
It really does.
So what was that first experience like? Like, did the photographer give you a lot of direction to kind of help guide you a little bit?
Not that much. I think it was kind of a tough experience because I arrived in Korea a few months before, so I had no Korean. Like my Korean level was down, and they didn't speak English.
Oh, there was
so-
nobody on set that spoke English?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the designer spoke a little bit of English, but she was not really translating what the photographer wanted. So all I could hear was them talking together, and I could feel that it was a little bit negative. Like, I could feel that I was not, of course, I'm not a professional model. And they were like, scrunching like the brows. And I was like, you have to translate for me to do something about it. But they were not. So, like, it was not a bad experience, but it got me thinking, like, oh, do I really feel comfortable? And it's with the next experiences where I got a translator or when I got better in Korean that I understood that it was fine.
Yeah.
Like, if there's communication, then it works well.
And how did you kind of like start to build up that confidence in front of being how did you build up that confidence to be in front of the camera, right? Because it's either, I think it's from real work experience, which is like maybe a paid job or a test shooting, or I've heard people like go on YouTube, they find like posing tutorials and kind of like mimic it with an iPhone at home.
I think it was mostly during jobs. What helped the best is when it was during collabs, actually. Like, you collab with photographers and they send you all of the pictures that you took. And I was going through all of them and I was trying to remember what looks good and what doesn't. So I know how to reproduce it, like what angles is good, what angles is terrible. And I guess you have to do that at some point. You have to know, like, I've heard it so many times, you have to know your poses, you have to know your angles. You have to have like a special pose that you always do during your shootings. And I think that takes a few hours of just going through all the pictures that you take and trying to reproduce them at every shooting. I guess that's how I did it.
Yeah, I mean, angles are super important. I honestly wish we filmed this from the other side because I really prefer being on this side, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But yeah, angles are super, super important. I mean, even just, I think like the thing for a lot of models just getting into it, they think they need to make really big movements when the truth is like small head tilts or just like moving your hips up and down will change like the dynamic of how your body comes across on camera. And it's really, really small movements make a really big difference. But I think a lot of people get too caught up in, like I had this hand in the pocket, now I have to do no hands in my pocket, or now I have to do both hands in my pocket, or I have to cross my arms or something, So what were like the following jobs after that first experience like?
Let me remember. It's been a while. So there was this one. What was it? Oh my God. I think
No, that's totally fine. Take your time. We can talk about more recent work too.
Yeah.
I just kind of like to get an idea of like how you got into the industry and then your experience through it, and then look at some of like the key points here and there.
I remember. It was maybe a year after that. I met model friend, and she was looking for another foreigner friend to join for a runway.
Cool.
And they were just looking for people. So there was no real like criteria on like experience or how you walk. They just wanted foreigners to join.
Really?
So my friend was like, okay, just come. It's going to be fun. Like, I don't want to be alone. Just join. I had never walked in my life, and it shows. When I looked at the video of the runway, I was like, oh my God. I thought I was killing it. And I look at the video and I'm so stiff, and like my shoulders are, like kind of like slouched. Terrible, absolutely terrible. But I did it and I didn't die. So it actually told me, like, even if you don't really manage to do something, you're not going to die. Like, just try.
Yeah.
And you'll get to it. And it was like 2 sessions. The first one was like
2 like clothes changes, or
no, it was like the first
2 shows.
2 shows.
Okay.
The first part was just like filming the introduction videos of the models, because it was a beauty contest, actually.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know about it until the end. It was a beauty contest, and so they film intro videos, pictures to show like the candidates, I guess. And then the next part was the runway, where they selected the winners. and I ended up second runner-up.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I just joined because my friend wanted me to, and they had an empty spot, and I ended up with, like the crown and the little gift and stuff. I was like, wow, what am I doing here? And when I saw the video of the runway, I was like, what was the vote like? Like, how did they choose me? I have no idea, but still, I have a good memories, good souvenirs. Like in my room in France, there's this little crown with the like, second runner-up. So that's cool. And then after this, I followed with getting into a drama, like as an extra. And I got really lucky this year, I think, like 4 years ago, I think. Because I was just supposed to be extra, and I ended up having few lines with the main actor.
Oh, cool.
A second main actor, I think. It
Still
was not
cool.
the main. Still cool.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. I couldn't eat the whole day because I thought I was going to be like in the very back, I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to have to search myself. And we were maybe 30 people. Like it was supposed to be a classroom of fashion. And like the director comes and he aligns all of us and he just looks at everybody and he's like, you're going to come here and you're going to be the one talking with the main actor. I was like, no, I'm too shy for it. No, please no. And I still did it. The actor was really nice. I forgot his name. My bad. But since he was not that famous back then, so I didn't have this feeling of, like him looking down on me.
Yeah.
Like in between the cuts, he was just joking about
that's
some
very
stuff.
cool.
So it was super cool. And there was also the main girl actor who is forgot her name again. I'm really bad at drama. Like I don't know a lot of actors, but Song Hye-kyo.
Okay. I'm sorry. I have no
You
idea.
have no idea either. Okay, very good. I heard she was really famous. She was one
Okay.
of the famous actresses here, but she was really far away on the set, so we didn't cross paths at all. But I think it was actually this drama that got me into wanting to do more. I know a lot of models don't like the sets of like music videos or drama because it takes like so long.
I mean, yes, but fashion show is worse because fashion show is fitting, rehearsal for 10 seconds of show, like that you're actually out there. Maybe 20 because you also have to do the finale. Depends how many looks you have too, but it's like you're spending like 2 or 3 days for less than a minute of work, where it's like production is 1 day or 2 days of ridiculous hours, but there's so much downtime in between each shot. So it's like, that's what I think people don't know is like if you shoot a TVC or a film, drama, whatever it is, music video, your actual work time is probably like less than an hour, but you're there for like 24 or 36 hours, right?
Yeah, sure.
Because, like they have to do the lighting, they have to like set everything up.
Yeah.
So I like those jobs
Me
because
too.
I have so much time to just chill and be to myself.
But it depends where it is shot. Like if it's outside, no.
Yeah.
But like this one was inside. I could sit in between all of the cuts. I was chatting with friends. It was perfect. It didn't feel like work. Like you just said, I was working for an hour maybe out of the whole day.
Yeah.
And it was fun work. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to meet actors. Even if I don't know many, I'm always hoping for me to see like one of the two I know. And be like, oh.
So are you like big into K drama, K culture, K film, all that stuff now? Like, do you know who everyone is?
Not at all. I know the most famous ones, I guess. Like, there's like Kongyu, Lee Jong-seok, like those very...
Yeah, I definitely know who those people are.
I saw in your eyes that you had no idea. You should get a little bit more into it.
I'm not a big K drama, K music, K culture fan. I think there's like a couple shows here and there that I've watched, like Woo Young-woo. Obviously, I've seen Squid Games like everybody else. And then like there's a couple K-pop songs that I'm pretty diehard for, but I'm not as K fanatic as some people are. Okay, cool. So have you ever done anything fashion related back home, or is it only strictly in Korea?
Well, I had to go back home to change my visa like 3 months ago. And I really wanted to get into the fashion, like it's France, so it's really cool to do some fashion stuff. I couldn't get paid because it's still hard. Like freelancing is actually much harder than I thought. Like to get paid, you need to do a lot of papers and you have to register into so many like things, even in your own country. And so I just chose to do like collabs in France with the cool backgrounds and stuff. And also my agency told me like, yeah, if you can get some French, really typical French pictures, it would be good for your portfolio to show that you're like an international model. And it did help for the visas and agencies and works. So it was just like, you know, videos or beauty shoots, but just collabs with photographers. Nothing too high fashion or anything like that. Not yet. Maybe
And
soon.
how are you going about kind of opening up the communication with these people to like get this work done? Because I think there's kind of two ways you can start building your portfolio in the beginning, and one is through like natural work. But you know, with like a limited portfolio, you really have to be the perfect fit for the market, so you have consistent work and can build this book up. Otherwise, it's like you either pay for studio time and work with some photographers on a project that you want to work on, or like you kind of, as you mentioned, do some TFP stuff where you guys can kind of build the project together, or they'll take word from you or vice versa. So are you just contacting them through social media and kind of being like, hey, like I love your work, I want to shoot something like this with you?
It was exactly just that. Because when I went to France, so a few months ago, my portfolio was very big already because I started in Korea. I did it for 6 months or something. 6 months of collabing and collabing and collabing. So I had a portfolio like 50 pages of different like pictures of me. So it was quite easy actually in France to just say like, hey, I'm a model in Asia. Would you be interested in shooting together? And I didn't get a lot of no's. I contacted maybe like 10 people, and most of the no's were actually like, oh, I'm too busy nowadays. Like, I can't, but if you come back to France, then I'd love to. And so in France, it was easy, but the start of the collabs in Korea was hard.
Why?
Because when you have nothing to show, I feel like the photographers here don't really want to risk like wasting few hours of their day on somebody who doesn't know like how to pose, who they don't know what's gonna be the outcome. So I get them. Like I understand why they would say, "Oh, I'm not sure. Like you have no pictures, you have no experience. So why would I waste? Like I'm supposed to be paid, and I'm going to do it for free, and maybe I'm not going to get anything out of it." So I get it, but I managed to get like the first shoot, and then as soon as you have the first one, you can show it to other people, and they're like, "Okay, then we can do something together." And then it goes and goes and goes. And first here it was me contacting the photographers, and then after maybe 1 or 2 months of posting my collabs, I didn't contact anyone anymore. It was just the photographers coming.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I guess like.
So now you get to be a little picky and choosy about who you want to work with.
Yeah,
That's cool. Nice.
And now that I can be paid like legally and stuff, I don't do that many collabs. I just really do it if the concept of the collab is like something I'm missing, I guess. But if it's just, like snap pictures or something, I get to be picky. Like I'm not mean to them. I would never do this. But if I don't have time, then I'm going to have to say no. So it's a little bit, like it's a bit like sad. I have to say no to people who would have helped me like a few months before. But it's also like it shows to myself that I grew in the like modeling field, I guess.
And where do you want to take this going forward? Like, do you now want to pursue a career in fashion kind of full time for the next foreseeable future, or do you want to do different things?
I would love to get more into fashion, like lookbooks. It's my favorite thing to do right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, I wanted to become a fashion designer before. And...
Is that what you were studying in school?
No.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to. It was the goal. So I was studying just Korean. And then I changed my mind. Like, I graduated and I was like, no, actually, it's not for me. But at the same time, I got like in the other side of the fashion. So I was still in the fashion field like right now. And even if I don't want to become like a designer anymore, because I don't like to like use the sewing machine, but I like to draw like the concepts. So I'm still a little bit into that. And meeting like designers who are working on their own like collections, like posing for them. That's really like my favorite thing to do. You know, they dress you and they check everything and they're like, okay, I spent some time on this clothes, and that's just so cool to see. And they all have like a different style, they have a different personality, they have a different vision of things. That's so cool to just get to know everything from them, like personally. That's great.
I mean, I think the benefit too of transitioning into like the design or like manufacturing side of fashion is you get really like a first hands-on experience of how clothes and different fabrics lay on people, how they move, how they wrinkle, how like all these things. So I'm sure like if you're bound to become a fashion designer, then you'll definitely take away something from your time in fashion, while also building up like the perfect network to you know, like launch your brand. Okay, cool. So what makes it like something that you want to now do maybe long term as a designer? Like, are you thinking to model your clothes based around your experiences in fashion so far, or did you have something already like preconceived that you're like, okay, well, this is what I want to do at some point, I'm just getting to there?
For now, honestly, I'm not really thinking about like doing a brand or something. I'm just getting inspired, but I'm still more focusing on the modeling part because I still consider myself a beginner. Like it's been maybe 6 months that I've been really getting into it and getting more and more like different projects. But if I have an idea, I'm still gonna like write it down and be like, okay, maybe when I have more time to, you know, let myself like get inspired and just lay down on my bed and draw something, then I'll definitely go back to my notes and think about like what was it back then when I was modeling for a brand. But for now, it's not my main concern, I think.
And do you have like any ambition or plan to, you know, travel? Because travel is a huge part of like, I don't think that's the right term. Like modeling, we'll just say modeling in general. You know, like going to different countries is super, super important because you need to work with photographers with different eyes, and that really changes country to country. Location also changes, you know, the clothes that you're wearing changes, and it really enhances like the diversity of your book. So like, are you planning like, I want to go here and work, or I want to go here and work?
I love traveling, and if I can do it through my work, it's like my life goal, I guess. I guess it's kind of everyone's life goal. Like if you can be paid to travel, of course. Nobody would say no to this, but you have to start by paying it yourself and meeting the people, just like I did in Korea. But I worked like for a few days in Japan.
Oh, cool.
Still collabs, not real work because of the visa, of course, every time. But it was still very great to shoot like in studios, but also in the city. Like it was in the middle of Tokyo with like the lights and you know, like colors and stuff. So different from what I could have done in Korea. And meeting people from other cultures, like speaking different language. That's so great. And now right now I'm actually planning my trip to Thailand.
Oh, nice.
To work, I hope. Like,
nice.
I really, finger crossed.
Have you found an agency yet?
I contacted one, like just one out of curiosity, and they answered that they were interested in my like profile.
Nice.
But I think they're busy, so the like answer time is very long.
It's not necessarily busy. It's just, so we're actually taking the platform to Thailand. I'm going there actually this Thursday.
Really?
Yeah, permanently.
Wow.
Well, at least for the foreseeable future. One thing you have to get accustomed to is in Thailand, it's not, I mean, they're definitely busy, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's just like, Thai culture is also just like, sometimes it can take some time to get things done.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like one really nice thing about Korea is everything is very quick. People reply very quickly.
Yeah.
And, you know, like things are just fast. We're in Southeast Asia in general. I found it's
Really?
way slower.
Okay. then I feel better.
I think you just kind of have to be on like their ass about it and be like,
Yeah.
hey, like, what are we doing? Like, I need my non-B immigrant work visa. Like, let's get it
Yeah.
going. I want to come. I want to work
Okay.
here.
Then
But
I'm just gonna keep texting them, I guess.
yeah,
I mean, they said that they were interested, so I guess I have to.
yeah.
Like to get the visa. I think I'm gonna be like, hey, I want to go like in 2 weeks. I'm planning on going in 2 weeks. And I don't know if you're going to Thailand, maybe you know them. It's Bass Management.
I
Bass.
know them. So we're only working with a couple agencies in Thailand right now. They are not one of them. So I don't know them that well. But I would be happy to introduce you to the MOU partners that we already have.
That'll be so cool.
Because those agencies I know, I met with them. And they're just really, really amazing people. Not to like put down any other agencies. It's just those are the ones that we're working with now. Yeah, be happy to. Thailand's a great market. It's definitely not as busy for lookbook as it is here. It's a little bit more TVC heavy. Like I think you'll see
I've heard about that. Yeah.
everywhere. There's just so much TVC advertising material down there. Like you go into the subway, it's like TVC, TVC,
Yeah,
TVC, TVC. Like I don't know how they shoot TVC 12 months a year, but they do.
They do.
But yeah, it definitely opens you up too, because I think like in Southeast Asia, everything's a little bit more interconnected than it is in Korea. So it's like you have now opportunity to go to Malaysia or Vietnam or who knows, right?
That's
like,
a dream.
yeah, it's a really, really cool market. Plus, like on the weekend when you want to go on like a short trip, you can fly 1 hour to some beautiful island versus like
I'm so excited.
sitting in traffic for 6 hours to go to Yangyang.
Yeah, true. Although I'm so excited. I'm even more excited now. But yeah, I'll be so glad to like if we can, because I'm planning on staying here maybe a month or a month and a half. So maybe we can like meet
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
That'll be great.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm always happy to help people out on the platform. I mean, that's why. Excuse me.
It's okay.
That's why we're building this, is really to kind of open the bridges and start connecting people in fashion, because I'm sure, as you've experienced already, it's very closed off.
It is.
There's a lot of gatekeeping going on from people for no reason. Like I really don't get it.
It's the competition. If you like tell
But
somebody,
do you believe it's really competition? Because the way I see it is like the client is always the decision maker, right? Because they're the ones funding the photo shoot.
Of course.
They're gonna pick whoever they pick.
It's like, of course, but I only think it's competition if you have very similar like profile with this person. Like, I'm not a gatekeeper, but I have to admit that, for example, if I have like if I see like a casting for women with short hair, I'm not gonna give it to a woman with short hair, because then maybe they wouldn't know about her and they would take me. But if they knew about her, then they would prefer her, and then I would lose a job. So I kind of understand, but if the profile is not that similar, then there is no reason for someone to gatekeep like a whole website or a whole like casting, like open casting. You know, that's not really.
See, it is interesting. Like I want to talk about this because I have a very opposing view, and like I like to hear different sides. Like I don't think you'll ever convince me. I'm a very stubborn person in general.
You convinced me. I'm really open to. Yeah.
But the way I see it is like, you know, a casting is totally out of our control, especially if it's an open call casting. So like if a client has opened this up and doesn't really have any boundary, or has very, very limited boundary of what they're looking for, you know, like they might be like, yeah, we're looking for Caucasian women with shorter hair, and then end up choosing somebody completely different from that.
True.
This happens all the time. So I think like I came to the conclusion that it was like, it's really fate or like a destiny. Like if I'm meant to work with this client, then I'm meant to work with this client. But I think the modeling community in general needs to be a little bit more supportive of each other.
Yeah.
So I think I talked about this with somebody else, but when I was doing seasons in Milan, me and my friend were in different agencies, but we were very close. We had very different looks, but for Fashion Week casting, like they're gonna choose a very wide array, or they used to. Some of the more recent ones, like YSL, they're pretty specific on what they're looking for. But before, you could see everybody, like every race, every size, like everything. And it was more like, okay, well, like it's already really tough to get bookings. The client's gonna book me or they're not. But you know what? Like, I also want to give that opportunity to my friend, because if he gets booked, hey, like awesome. It just wasn't meant to be for me, versus like, like maybe now I see somebody else that I don't know in that show that I think my friend could have been the guy for that. I don't know. That's just the way I perceive it, but
Yeah, I mean, for friends, I totally agree, like 100%. I'm
not gonna tell strangers like, hey.
Yeah, no, I was talking about gatekeeping, like, on Reels or something.
Okay.
Like, but with friends, I would never do this. And I used to have some like friends who used to gatekeep like so much. They were only telling us about casting when they were finished, and they were like, "Oh no, my bad, they're finished. I had no idea." And I'm not friends with them because I was giving them a lot of castings. I was like, "Oh, I saw this like on Instagram. Apply," and they were not really giving anything back. And they were also trying to join like on my shoots to get the contacts. And like, I'm okay for you doing this if you were doing the same for me. Like, we exchange contact. It's not just about me giving my like everything I worked hard for. So if it goes both way, then yeah, of course I would help my friends anytime. Every time I have an opportunity, or even them, like to go to a party or something, we always ask like, can we have someone else like for the networking and stuff like this. But yeah, I was talking about like gatekeeping in strangers.
Okay.
that's different then.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever like just been like, oh, I got this casting. Let me look for people with my profile I can just contact blindly and be like, hey, don't know you, but I think you'd be great for this.
I mean, not about castings, like real castings, but it's more about I'd say like contacts. Like in Korea, there are some some like websites with a lot of castings, with a lot of contacts. My bad.
Please take a moment if you need it.
So yeah, there are those like websites with like all of the castings, and then there are websites like yours who also offer like for a lot of people, and also like some agencies are gonna give like contacts for casting directors. I wouldn't give that to like anyone. Like, I wouldn't tell like on Instagram or even at a party like, oh yeah, you can find like castings on this website, because I don't know, like a little bit of gatekeeping could be nice, because it's still like in Korea especially, there are a lot of people, like it's really busy. So if everybody knows about the same thing, then it's just going to be all of the industry like applying to all of the same castings, and then you're going to get like drowned into all of the, like, I don't know, if they work for it and search a little bit and find it, then good for them. But if they're just waiting for people to serve like all of the information on the plate, then no. I guess we're freelancers, like we have to work for our works. It's not just handed to us. Like, if it's your agency, then good for you. Like, I'm happy for you that you have an agency working for you and giving you jobs every day. That's everybody's dream, I think. But in between like models, if you're not close friends, then I don't think you really need to just tell random people about your tips or things like that. I don't know.
So why have you chosen to stay in freelance? Because for people that don't know out there, there's really like two avenues. And one is to be exclusively signed, where that agency controls your booking rights, controls your schedule, pricing, everything. But they do a lot to assist you in helping you actually get work. Or you operate as a freelancer, where you have significantly more control, but you have to do significantly more work to actually get work. So why stay in freelancing versus signing exclusive?
Honestly, it wasn't a choice. Like, when I was really looking for an agency to give me a visa, I didn't have the qualification to apply, like to get an exclusive contract.
Mm.
And also my main problem in Korea is that I have tattoos, like they're visible, they're on my hands. And a lot of agencies were like, oh no, we're not signing with you because a lot of our clients are going to say no. So we're not going to book you anywhere. So I really just stopped trying for the high ones. Like I was like, okay, you need a really built portfolio to apply to those and get an answer. So I was a beginner. I'm still a beginner, so I'm gonna get to the beginner avenue. Even if it's harder, because you have to work, like you said, you have to work. You have to like scroll on the casting list every day. But actually, I don't mind it that much. I have a control on what I want to do and what I don't want to. I feel like I see some castings and sometimes like, oh, I would hate to do this. And if I had an exclusive contract and my agency casted me, yeah, you don't have a choice. And I don't want to go like on a job with, you know, like anxiety in my stomach and be like, oh, I'm going to have shitty like 6 hours because sometimes they're like full days. Like you're well paid, but no, like I would rather do little contracts of like 2 hours every day, have fun with my friends. Like it's still vacation, you know. I'm working a few hours from my house to find my castings. I find them, they're short ones but well paid. I go there and then it's summer, I go shopping, I hang out like with people. I think that's nice for now. I'm
Good
not gonna
work-life balance.
Yeah, I think.
So I want to talk a little bit about appearance things because this is something that I dealt with for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like, as you can see now, my hair is yellow. It was not yellow until I kind of stepped away from modeling.
Yeah.
Now I have some tattoos, which you can't see. But even then, it was kind of at the end where I was like, okay, like I feel like I'm leaving it a little bit. But even then, they're in locations where I can hide them very, very easily. So I can still do 99.99999% of bookings. But yeah, like what's that experience like? Because I know like it can be very tough, especially in certain countries. Like that's why I'm curious why you're interested in Japan, because they're very anti-tattoo as well.
Yeah. But since in Japan I was only doing collabs, it was different. Like kind of like same with Korea. Like of course everybody knows, I think, that Korea is kind of no on the tattoos. Like I can't go on
I mean, it was
TV.
illegal for a while, wasn't it?
I think it's still
It's like a gray zone now, right?
It's weird. I don't understand the law, but I think it's not that. And they're still like not really allowed on TV. Like they're getting there on dramas, but it's mostly the bad guys who have tattoos. And I think like it just keeps the cliche going about like tattooed people are bad people. Like it would be nice to have more exposure of just random people, because a lot of Korean people are tattooed. Like
a lot,
and they're visible.
Yeah.
Like in summer, everybody has sleeve tattoos. Like it's really visible, and it's really contradictory to what we see on TV and what we hear, I think. And I thought I would struggle more actually, because I mean it's not easy. I'm getting refused on most of the big castings, because as soon as if it's on TV and they have I guess like their own clothes, then I can't go because they're worried that this one is going to show because the sleeves go up there.
But they've never done like the tattoo foundation or anything that hides it, or
Too much work.
Okay.
I think you could, if they really want you for your face or like your attitude or something, they would go as far as like foundation. But if they can take somebody else with no tattoos, then it's less work and it's gonna do the job. So they wouldn't bother that much. So big contracts for me is kind of a no-go. I'm not too sad about it. I'm just sad about not being able to do like hand models, because it's fun jobs, I think, and I like my hands, but yeah, because of this one, I can't. I did it a while ago. I was young and I didn't know where I was going in my life, so I don't regret it, but I'm like, that
was I guess my next question. Like if you had been introduced into, you know, this industry earlier and you kind of had this understanding of needing to keep your body clean in terms of like no tattoo, no piercings, or very limited piercings or tattoos that you can hide very easily, do you think like you would have waited until you were kind of at the end and then started to do it? Because that's like how I am, and I know there's a lot of people like that. And then there are some people like, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care. I don't care now because now I have my agency, I have contracts, I have jobs. And honestly, like the good part is that most of my jobs I got because I got the tattoos.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like 50-50. You can get like canceled immediately if they see you have tattoos, but then you're going to reach another audience and they're going to be like, wow, you have your identity, you have your own style, you have something more than other people. So I want you. Usually it's fashion designers. Like if they have a hip hop style, then they're going to prefer somebody with tattoos because it adds something to like their design, I think. But, or even jewelry, like I've been doing some like skincare thing. It's like beauty. And I was like, do you mind if like my tattoo show? And no. So I think some people are starting not to care as long as they don't have any restriction because it's on like a restricted like TV channel or something. They don't really care. Like they like your face, then good for you. But I think if I had known, maybe I wouldn't have done this one like that low on my hand. But all the others, like I have a lot of here, I have them on my legs. I like them too much. Like it really adds to my identity because I have short hair, like short brown hair. I have piercing. It goes together. And if the client manages to grasp that and add to it, then I think it fits well together. So for now, I don't really regret it. Like sometimes I see, like very well paid contracts and it's written like no tattoos. I'm like, oh. But even if I didn't have the tattoos, would I have been taken for that? Probably not. So might as well get them. But I heard that in Thailand they're really, really less like strict on it.
The countries that you usually, like you said, like you kind of have to be in one side or the other where you have no tattoos or you have a lot of tattoos. This is just my opinion. I think like if you have one or two tattoos and they're visible, then you kind of have to go, you have to commit and you have to really create that aesthetic because there are a lot of clients that want that. And it's not something that you can really do convincingly digitally or artificially because I've had shoots before where they were like, oh, we really want you, but we want you to have tattoos. And then they did the like stick-on ones and like some post-production stuff, and it just looked awful in the end. Looked so fake, looked so bad. But I think really the only countries that are kind of sensitive about that are Korea for sure, Japan for sure, Taiwan, maybe Hong Kong too, China a little bit here and there, but I've seen like some models do really, really well, and they are just head to toe, like even face tattoos, everything. Southeast Asia, I didn't work like too long, so I don't really know. And I also didn't have tattoos, so I don't know. But yeah, I think in general they're a little bit more liberal in the term of being like open to new things, like a little bit more accepting. So I'm sure you'll probably have some more opportunity there than you would here because
I guess I think my good season in Korea would be winter because as soon as I have sleeves, then you can't see anything. I can remove like my piercings. That's no problem. So I'm kind of waiting to see what it's gonna be like in winter here. But yeah, I got introduced to like the Thailand marketing by friends in my agency who worked there for 2 months or something. And
like a 60-day contract or something.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
They didn't tell me about like anything like that. They were just like, oh, I went there, and I had a lot of contracts. I worked well. You should apply. And I was like, how do they feel like about tattoos? And they were like, yeah, in my agency, like a lot of people had tattoos, and they were not being picky about if you have some or not. Like they're not rude tattoos, like I mean, they're mine, so of course I like them. But I think they're like, how do I say, like art? It's not a word. It doesn't say anything. It's just you interpret it how you want it. So yeah, like I said, if you manage to add something into it or consider it into the project, then it's just like a jewel or something, like an accessory. So
Hey, I'm
I
with
hope-
you. I'm getting my next tattoo on Wednesday, actually.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's weird. Like, okay, we're getting a little bit away from fashion, but I do want to talk about this a little bit,
Okay.
just because like I'm kind of excited about this. I thought the first tattoo was like gonna like ruin my life, because I guess like this is kind of what I was trained to believe, starting in the fashion industry very early, like at a very young age. And then I was like, oh, you know, like I'm never gonna get a job again, and blah blah blah,
Me
and this
too.
and that. And then I got the first one. I was like, okay, like when am I gonna go get the next one? When am I
Yeah.
gonna get the next one? Now I'm like, okay, now I gotta plan it out. Like, how much skin do I have?
Yes, me too. I'm slowing down a little bit.
I mean, I still got a while to catch up to you, but yeah, I can definitely see myself starting to go down that path.
We have time
Yeah.
to
Wow.
take it slow.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I want to talk a little bit about fashion in Korea, because I hear like a lot of opposing views from a lot of different people. So like, you know, some photographers have expressed certain opinions, some models have expressed certain opinions, agencies, designers, like I hear a lot differently now. And the way I've kind of perceived it in the last few years is that, you know, Korean fashion designers are producing phenomenal stuff. Like the clothing and apparel that's coming out of Korea is really, really cool and like amazing stuff. But I think the market kind of gets a bad rap from within the modeling industry, because there, you know, there's a lot of things that are not so transparent in Korea that are very transparent in other countries. France especially is very transparent. This is usually the case throughout Europe and the US. But Korea in general can sometimes get a bad rap, and it kind of scares people from coming here, though it's an amazing country. People are really nice. Like in general, the shootings are like flawless.
Yeah.
So like, how do you feel? Like, do you have like you had any negative experience, or has it just been predominantly positive?
I think it's been mostly positive. I don't recall like any negative thing. No, especially I'm mostly thinking of my recent works, and all of my shootings so far have felt like I was hanging out with friends.
That's the
Honestly,
best.
it's people are nice. I feel like since we're foreigners, it's easier for them to be friendly. Like there's less this.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like Korean people in between them have to hide those really like high, like politeness,
Okay.
and it's in the culture. I think from what I've seen the past years.
Mm-hmm.
But with us, if we arrive and we're like, hey, like, how you doing?
It kind of sets the tone to
Yeah.
be a little bit more comfortable.
And also if we tell them like, no pressure, like it's fine. I'm here to hang out. Like you don't need to be perfect, because I think that's such a high standard. Like nobody needs to be perfect, because then I would need to be perfect, and I don't want that. I want to be able to do some mistakes. I want to do, like, if I have to redo the cut, like for video shootings, if we have to redo it, then nobody should be upset about it. So if you have to redo it for me, good. If you messed up and we have to redo it, good for me. Like I don't mind. And I think it's really cool to set the tone to this kind of like professionalism. Like everybody speaks nice, nobody gets upset, but we don't expect too much of the other party, because why would we do this? Like we have time, it's okay. And so like all of the shootings I've done were this type of like
Vibe.
mood,
Yeah.
And it's just in between the cuts you can just talk. Like they usually ask like, where are you from? Like how's it been? Like those kind of questions. So it sets the tone to really something like you're meeting with new people, and it's just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think like setting the tone early on a set makes a big difference for the rest of the day, especially if it's a full day.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you do to kind of like, you know, break the ice, or like, you know, get everybody feeling really comfortable? For me, it's like, yes, smiling. Yeah.
like if you greet them with a big smile, I think that does it. Honestly, you're like, even if we speak Korean, I think it's even easier if we speak English together, because English is a very friendly language. You know, there is no, it's just you. There's not all of this thing in Korean, like how do we speak to each other? How do I address to you? That's still something kind of awkward for me if I have to shoot in Korean. But even if it's in Korean, you greet them and you're like, you know, you do a friendly gesture, and suddenly everybody goes like, okay, she's nice. Because we never met. We don't know. Like if they've seen my portfolio, I'm always very serious on my pictures. And I've heard from like people from the shoot, they were like, I was kind of scared that you were mean. So you have to set the tone of, I'm not going to be mean to you. Don't worry, we're going to have a good time. And usually that, for me, that did it every time.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I definitely have worked with people that have showed up like just already very miserable, and it just kind of bleeds on to everybody else.
Yeah.
And then everybody's there like at the end of the day, like let's just get this done.
Yeah.
You know, versus at the end of the day, you're like, wow, like we're already done. Like that was awesome. Like, thank you so much, guys. Like
we had fun. We're going to be paid to have fun. That's so nice. And if they're happy with their project, then good for them. I'm happy for them as well. As long as you like it, I like it too. And I think, like for my experience of working with also students, because I love to help students. Like they're so into their like fashion design or photography.
very passionate,
They're
right?
passionate, and they're always like, oh, I can't pay you much. And I'm like, you're a student. If I could, I would do it for free. Like I want to help you guys. And I think something to say is like, oh, I'm a little nervous. And as long as you say that you're nervous, because I know they felt so nervous doing this, because sometimes it's their first year, it's their first big project in university. And they're like, wow, she relates to me. We're both nervous, so it's okay. And then you feel the tension just like going out of their body.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. I never thought about that. I think I've only done one student project, and that was way back in Canada. But that was for a show, so it was a little different, where they're kind of like, okay, cool, we like your look, you fit the clothes, you know what to do. And I was like, okay, cool. But I think like, yeah, like a point like that makes a lot of sense, actually. Because I'm sure like they, like as you expressed, are feeling like, oh my God, this is my first time working with a model.
They're
like,
terrified.
what do I do? Like, what if they think I'm not giving them enough direction or the right direction, this kind of stuff.
It's hard for everybody. Like we all start somewhere. And since I am now considered like a professional model, like I can feel the difference in how they feel when I arrive. They're like, oh, she's a professional. We have to be fast. We have to be effective. We have to be... I'm like, it's okay. I've started there too. Like last year, I was also the one who had no idea what to do on set. It's okay. Like, no worries. You're learning, and I was learning too. And if you... Like, if everybody doesn't stress that much, then everybody's going to be more efficient on their job, and it's perfect. And if you, like I said, if you make a mistake, it's fine. Like everybody makes mistakes in the end.
Yeah, I mean, especially in modeling, I mean, nobody has 100% perfect frames. Like you're going to have one or two where they catch you half blinking, you know,
Of
something.
course.
So where do you want to take modeling long term? So like you kind of dipped your toes in now, like you're learning the ins and outs of the industry, kind of developing this passion for it. Like where do you want to take it? Like how far do you want to go? Do you want to do it forever? Do you see a finite end for you? Or
I don't, like, I've always said before starting, like getting into it this year, I was like, if I become famous, then I'll continue until I can't anymore. But if I reach a point where it just stills to little projects and no like very exciting like big jobs, then maybe at some point I'm gonna get bored of staying in the same point all the time. So if that happens, I don't know if I would just change career or if I would change country, because depending on where you are, it really it really changes your experience, I guess.
for sure.
For sure. So that's why now I'm trying to go a little bit abroad to see like the different experiences. And it would be hard to start all over again, like a life. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been here, and I have friends. I have things holding me back in Korea. But if my job doesn't give me any more like excitement, I think I'm gonna have to change it at some point. I hope it's still gonna give me the excitement. Like even if it's still little projects, every day is different. Which for now it fits me perfectly. Like meeting people every day, good. Doing different things, learning different things every day. That's all I've ever wanted. So for now, I'm just going with the flow. You know, I'm like, okay, for now I like it. Then I'm not gonna think too much about what if I don't like it anymore. What if it crashes? Like, I'm good in Korea. I finally managed to get what I wanted, so I'm gonna enjoy it like day by day, every minute of it. And of course, the goal is to have like a name. I think, like not too much. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be recognized. That's very like, selfish of me to say. I think, but just maybe in between the designers, it would be nice to have like a little like network,
like an internal recognition within the fashion community.
Like people, people talking and they're like, oh yeah, I've met this model before and she was nice. Maybe you should try shooting with her. That would be like my goal for now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, reputation is probably the biggest thing in this industry. I mean, it's really good, but it can also be really bad. Like the great things about it is if you are really professional and you carry yourself well, treat people well, and do your best regardless of what the actual outcome is, I think in general people have a really good understanding of that and are willing to kind of help you out or work with you. But like if you treat people really poorly or don't like put in any effort, like word travels very quickly. Like this client is going to tell that casting director is not going to book you anymore, or like it kind of spreads out. So I definitely agree with you. The only downside to this industry being really heavily reliant on reputation is I think it limits people's ability to talk about issues, because people obviously don't want to step on any toes. So that's, I guess, like the only thing that I don't really like about it. But like, do you have any like opposing view or?
I don't mind talking about the bad sides as long as I don't mention, a specific person or brand. For me, I don't have any. So for now, don't have much to say. Like, what I could say is more about like a really general view on the industry, like for the tattoos or like moving on to some new things. But even that, it's not like a major bad thing. I would say it's just some like progress can be made.
For sure.
Of course, as in everything, progress can be made. But yeah, about the bad parts of the jobs.
Yeah, so like, just tell me one thing that you don't like about modeling. So for me, it was like instability of income, because 1 month like I might make an absurd amount of money that, like, for what I'm doing, I should not be making this much money. And then next month I might make nothing, right? Like it can vary so drastically. It plays a lot on like your mental stability, like everything. So like, what's something that you don't?
For me, the income is okay because I knew what I was getting into. So I got myself ready, and I'm also very lucky to have a really supportive family who always told me, like, you make your money, good, but if 1 month you have no job, we're here for you. Like, we're going to send you the money. So they really took off the burden of I'm not going to have, like, the same income every month. So thankfully, thanks to them, I don't have to think about this. So it's more about the jobs. I think I would say, like, shooting in very uncomfortable outfits. Like, I'm a woman, and sometimes I don't know what they're going to shoot. And sometimes I ended up in very, like, revealing clothes. No. Like, maybe I'm going to get there at some point. Maybe not. I don't really want to get into, like, nudity or even, like, half nudity. No. And also, like, I feel like some people don't adapt to the models, like skin tone. Sometimes you end up with very light or very dark makeup. Like, come on, it's gonna show on the pictures. Or how do you say, like, morphology. I don't know. Maybe that's French.
I should
Like
I
the-
should know the French word because I actually have bilingual certificate, but it's so BS. Canadian government, please don't take that away though.
Nobody knows.
You mean like body composition?
Yeah,
or?
body composition.
Okay.
Like, I have a very small chest,
Mm.
so as soon as the clothes have like a space for like the breast, it doesn't fit me, and it shows on my picture. It's written everywhere. Like my size of everything is written, and sometimes, very sometimes, I'm still end up with clothes that don't fit me, and so it shows everything, and I'm very, very uncomfortable. You know, I always have to like pull it up. I have to hide. So in all of the pictures or videos, you can see me like trying my best to just hide myself. Like if it's written, if you tell the client your size, they should take it in consideration.
I definitely agree, but I think sometimes the inhibitor is that, you know, like most times when clients are shooting something, it's the sample size, so they may not have extra sizes.
course.
Like they might have one size up or one size down. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've been in outfits that are like way too big, or
Me
I'm
too.
dying in them because they are 3 sizes, 4 sizes too small, and I literally cannot breathe. But like, unfortunately, I mean, I would love to say like I think it should be that way, but I think it's also
It's impossible.
yeah, right?
Like I know it's not possible, and I understand the reason, but if it's a designer, yeah, but in those projects, it was people buying the clothes for like a more of an art project.
Ah, okay.
So why would you put me in this?
Yeah.
You know, it was more of a why would you choose this clothes in particular for me?
Yeah, it's a little different for sure.
Yeah, when it doesn't suit my body shape, it doesn't like something else would have looked so much better, but you didn't look at like it was more of a like beginners thing. So I just told them nicely like, yeah, if you keep doing it, you have to consider maybe a little more about the anatomy of a person. Like, of course, usually women have breasts. Unfortunately, they're not here, but you adapt and you manage. And even sometimes on like designer photo shoots, they usually give me the men's top, honestly, because they're like, hey, it suits you. Like, we give you a small size, it's a men, perfect, and it works. They can like advertise it as like both like unisex clothes, good for them, and nobody's uncomfortable. So
we're almost out of time, but I
Okay.
really, really love this topic because I don't think it gets talked about enough. It's like body dysmorphia is super, super prevalent in this industry. Like it is everywhere.
Yeah.
Like people are, you know, like dieting themselves to non-existence. So like how do you deal with like, maybe we can finish on this.
Okay.
It's like how do you kind of deal with, you know, like being comfortable in your own skin and, you know, not taking like social like pressure or whatever, or pressure within the industry to look exactly this way, because I think that maybe used to be the case, but nowadays like there are models with all shapes, all sizes, all color, all background. Like there's so much diversity within the term modeling now that I think like the discussion needs to happen more to just let people know like, hey, you're great as you are, like be comfortable being yourself.
I feel like Korea is a bit behind that, though. Like, I feel like they still only get very slim girls. I don't really know about the men, but I still feel like they're tall and muscular men. I don't know, but about myself, like, I'm not gonna lie, I fit into the description of a model. Like, I'm very slim. I don't have a lot of shapes, which was before a big insecurity of mine, because, like, in high school, you know, everybody has like curves and stuff, and I was still as like flat as a plank. And now it's actually thanks to the modeling industry that I see that I fit in the clothes, I fit in the designer's eyes, that I'm like, okay, then my body fits somewhere. Maybe it doesn't fit into people's eyes because they want like curves, they want sexy shapes. But if you look at it from another angle, then yeah, it still looks good. But I don't have to diet. I don't have to like really take care of my body. I'm doing really minimum like exercise, and I still get into like the how do you call it, the standard. So I'm not really the person to complain about like beauty standards or like something like, oh, I have to diet. Like I've never got told even in Korea that I have to diet. Like,
but
never.
if you were like, I'm just curious to like take your perspective on how you think maybe people can sort of deal with these things, because it's a really big issue. So like, let's say like a client was telling you like, hey, like you need to look this way, or like be this shape or this size or whatever. How do you think like you might internalize that and then react? Or like, are you going to say, hey, no, you know what, like I'm comfortable with myself, like you take it or leave it? Or do you have a different viewpoint?
I'm more of the type of person who would say like, react like, no, like you saw my pictures, you know how I look, then you don't have anything to tell me. If you want something else, you take somebody else. But I look like that. Like you're not going to change me immediately. I think an agency could say this because it's a long-term project, especially if, for example, you gain weight during your contract. They sign with somebody who weighs like a certain weight, and you gain like 5 or 10 kilos.
Well, that's different, right?
It's different. But then if it's just a client for like 1 day or 2 days, they see my portfolio. If they want more picture, they can ask for it. But once we're on set, if you want me to change something of my appearance, then no, because it would be just for 1 day. But then I would have to keep it for
a long
like
time.
2 more months, maybe, depending on what it is. So no, like sometimes I think it was more about my face. Like, they're like, but you have to look more mean. But like my eyebrow shape is like this. It is this way. Like I have like my face is round.
Yeah.
It is this way. If you want to like play with the shades, like the lighting, you have to play with the makeup. I can play with my facial expressions, but I can't change my bone structure. That's not possible. If you want something who looks aggressive, you cast somebody who's aggressive, but you have to take all of that in consideration. And I would honestly, like, if it's just a client for 1 day, even if it's an expensive contract, no, I don't take those. Like, I worked, especially if you work well outside of this, don't take it into consideration. Like, you are yourself, and other clients will like you for what you are right now. So why would I change for one person? It doesn't make sense.
I think you, like, summed it up perfectly. Like, I couldn't agree with you more.
Perfect.
Unfortunately, like, we're at the capacity, so I'm just literally waiting for something to walk in the door. But yeah, I'd love to try to help you best I can for maybe finding a contract in Thailand.
Oh, that would be so nice.
Like I said, we'll be running the platform there starting in July and August. So hopefully we can start finding you bookings there as well. No promises, but I'll do my best.
Of course. I'll do my best as well.
I'm Benjamin.
I was Lau.
Love to have you on. Would love
it.
to have you on again. Thank you so
anytime.
much. This is Model Talk.
Yeah.
See you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.